Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is multi-streaming on X, YouTube, and Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, you want to get involved in the live chat, head over to my YouTube channel at Holden Official 1, all lowercase, and subscribe and hit the notification bell to my YouTube. If you're watching this on X, make sure to head over to my YouTube and subscribe and hit the notification bell using the same handle at Holden Official 1, all lowercase. Today, we're going to be talking about the Jeffrey Epstein client list information dump, hashtag number 2. This is a new day. There's been new names that have been put out onto the internet. Now, what I'm going to say is this is a bit of a disclaimer. Everything I say here is not real. It all exists in Minecraft and GTA 6. This is a live show, so don't take anything I say as credible. As I say, this exists in GTA and Minecraft. Do not listen to me. Get your news from the BBC. Make sure that you're vaxxed. Make sure that you do not listen to any of those crazy conspiracy theorists on the internet. Do not use this show as factual information. Everything you're about to hear is completely fabricated and it's for entertainment purposes only. Right. That said, let's get into the show now. So we've got a few things we're going to speak about today. We're going to go through the names of, there's been a new dump of names on the internet. I'm going to share something to the screen here. And pretty crazy, guys, the names in this list. Actually, see, before I do this, I want to speak about something. I want to speak about the whole Stephen Hawking thing. So people were saying, well, you know, there's people on Twitter saying to me, well, you know, Stephen Hawking didn't do anything wrong. Okay, maybe not, but you have to understand the behaviors of Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein got high-profile people to his island, to his house that was there was high surveillance, where there was cameras everywhere. He compromised them and then he blackmailed them, allegedly, supposedly, right? So what's to say that didn't happen with Mr. Hawking? I'm not saying that's 100% true. That's just a hypothesis. Now, on that note, other people were saying, I'm sure Stephen Hawking can't do anything. Well, if you look at the behaviors of Jeffrey Epstein, he ordered his girls to do certain acts on people. If you look at some of the court documents that have been released, it was on his orders that he done these things, or the young victims done these things. You do this. So maybe, hypothetically speaking, when it came to Stephen Hawking, he didn't have to do a single thing. He didn't even need movement. It was just ordered that a certain act be done on him. And nothing's out of the realms of possibility when it comes to this whole thing. So, yeah, that's my reply to the people saying, and then there's hashtag Kevin Spacey is innocent. Well, hold on here. Okay, fair enough. Yes, innocent. That's fine. I will admit that he's innocent under a court of law. I'm not here to say that the guy's guilty. I'm sure there's people looking money off the guy. But realistically speaking, I'm just going to say this. This is a hypothesis. This isn't real. What I'm about to say here only exists in GTA 6 and Minecraft. But look at the people that just are not alive anymore involved in the Kevin Spacey situation. That's absolutely bonkers. It's like a low-ranked version of the Clinton body count. There's like 5 people not here anymore that we're going to give evidence in regards to that individual. I have to be very careful with words here. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. What I'm trying to say is, when it comes to these elite people that have been involved with Jeffrey Epstein, anything is possible. There's a reason why Jeffrey Epstein was unalived in that prison, because he had lots of information on people, and all these people have information on each other, and this is like literally, pardon the pun, the house of cards. It's falling down in front of our eyes. So let's share something to the screen now. This is the list. I'm going to be sharing the screen to Twitter. There is so much information on Twitter. If you do not have a Twitter account or an X account, they're both the same thing. It's formerly known as Twitter. It's called X now. There's the Dark Horse. I hope you're well, sir. So I would suggest that you download the app. That is where all information is being put at the minute. I mean, if you're not on that platform, you're not hearing the relevant information. You're not going to get the correct information in the mainstream media. You're not even going to get the correct information on YouTube. X is where all the information is being put onto. There's a few news organizations talking about it. Funny enough, left leaning news organizations, but uh, still, though, the bulk of the information is being put onto X. So make sure you go over to X and follow me at Holden Official 2, all lowercase. All the relevant links can be found in the description. So let me just share this to the screen now. So Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton are among the more than 100 people named in newly published legal documents linked to the Speedo Jeffrey Epstein. The disclosure of the first batch of court files include the names of victims, friends, and associates of the S offender and Ghislaine Maxwell, although many others will have no direct link to Epstein. The millionaire financier who socialized with royalty and celebrities was accused of running a large network of underage girls for his own dirty gratification. While awaiting trial, he de-lifed himself in a jail cell in 2019. Yeah. You have to publish that. So let me just... The full list of names is on this, guys. The legal documents relate to a defamation lawsuit brought against Maxwell in 2015 and were published under a judge's order on Wednesday. A second of documents released on Thursday evening did not shed a great deal of new light on the case and included many of the names previously made public. Inclusion of the names does not indicate any wrongdoing related to Epstein or anyone else, and the list includes many of Epstein's accusers and alleged victims. Prince Andrew is included with the legal papers mentioning a previously reported accusation that he groped Joanna Sosberg, which he denies. Former US President Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are also named, with neither accused of wrongdoing. Judges, court staff, and legal representatives are not included. There's the handsome devil there. So here's a couple of the names, right? We're going to go through the names. I can't see the chat here just for 2 minutes. Here's a couple of the names that we're going to go through now. So what I will say is, the Independent is correct. Just because you went to Epstein's Island doesn't mean that you're wrong. And there's lots of people that went over there even when he wasn't there. So, where I'm going a bit crazy on social media at the minute, on X, on YouTube, on Rumble, all the rest. Listen, if you're watching this in Rumble, I can't see your comments. So jump over to Holden Official YouTube, at Holden Official 1 if you want to get involved in the live chat. I know there's a few people watching over there now. But we can't say that everybody is a wrong'un. Do you know what I mean? I made this point yesterday that at some stage in our lives, we have been round a wrong'un and we haven't realized it. So that doesn't make us a wrong'un. Do you know what I mean? But it's the people that went there multiple times knowing that he was a wrong'un after he was a convicted sex offender. Those people, like Prince Andrew, need to be scrutinized a little bit more. And I tagged the Metropolitan Police on Twitter, and it's got a good couple of views with sharing the Prince Andrew court documents on Jeffrey Epstein. And I says, look, will you even look at this? Because I guarantee they won't, because it comes under national security. Because anything that breaches national security will be discarded and will be buried. It's the same as the Americans. So, yeah, thanks Dark Horse for jumping over to Twitter. I'm trying to kick that off the minute because it's pretty good. I like Twitter. It's pretty open. Do you know what I mean? Right. So let's get back to this now. So the first name, Andrew Albert Christian Edwards, Prince Andrew, second son of Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain. That's not number A. That's letter A. That's right at the top. These are the standout names. Bill Clinton, former U.S. president. Donald Trump, businessman and former U.S. president. What I will say to you in regards to Trump, I did see court documents that totally 100% takes Donald Trump away from the whole seedy sex thing. I did watch the whole thing on Donald Trump where the lady accused him in 2016 of raping her whenever she was 13. Facilitated by Epstein, apparently, and then she retracted that statement. I don't know why. She says that it didn't happen. And then there was information released on Donald Trump yesterday where apparently he had no affiliate or no ties to Epstein's seedy world, but with a lot of them, they do. But as I say, Prince Andrew does, Bill Clinton possibly does. Then you have David Copperfield, American stage magician. I find that very weird. John Connolly, New York police detective turned investigative journalist who investigated Epstein. So did he was John this is what we're trying to say here, was John Connolly going over there to visit Epstein for an interview, and that's why his name's on the list? Alan Dershowitz, if you want to know what happened to Alan Dershowitz, um prolific lawyer and pundit who represented Epstein in 2006. I do believe that's the same Dershowitz that was in Harvard, and there was a Dershowitz in Harvard that was compromised with if you want to know the full story about that, there, head over to my X at Holden Official 2, all lowercase, and I have released a story on my X where it talks about Dershowitz, and you will go into detail about how Epstein, I think it's the same Dershowitz, it could be wrong, how Epstein compromised Harvard. Harvard gave Epstein an office or something in their building, even though he was a convicted sex offender. What does that tell you? Leonardo DiCaprio, actor and film producer, famous for his roles in Titanic and Inception. I would have put Wolf of Wall Street there, but anyway. Al Gore, former US vice president under Bill Clinton. Let's connect the dots with that one. Stephen Hawking, British physicist and science author. So, a lot of people were saying I think there was a channel called Super Coven said on my YouTube channel that he went over there to go into the submarine. I don't know if that was they were being sarcastic or not. Apparently he was going over to use Ghislaine Maxwell's submarine or something. I don't know if that's real or not. What I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to say Stephen Hawking's a wrong'un. I asked the question on X: is Stephen Hawking an elite what? And I can ask that question on X because it's freedom of speech. It won't get suppressed. But was he compromised? The question is, was he compromised? Did Epstein facilitate a situation where there was like an orgy going on, and maybe Stephen Hawking didn't even know who the girls were, and this was recorded and then made to blackmail his staff? That's what I'm trying to say, because Stephen Hawking held a lot of power in the science world. Ed, I don't know how you say that name. I think it's Ed Barak, former Israeli prime minister. There you go. The Israeli prime minister was a client or an affiliate or went to Epstein's island. What's going on? Michael Jackson, famed, I would say infamous musician known as the King of Pop. Now, when it comes to Michael Jackson, what was he doing there? Sure, he had all the money in the world. What did Michael Jackson need in Epstein's island? Think about it. It doesn't make sense, does it? Like, think about that. It just doesn't make sense. But that's what I'm trying to say, T1. He didn't need to do anything. This isn't about, if you look at the court documents, if you actually go through the court documents, Epstein instructed girls to do things on men. They didn't have to do anything. I read one court document where Epstein said, you have to do this. And he and the person that she was doing it on was told to do nothing. So do you know what I mean? He mightn't have had to do anything. He could have just been round the vicinity of young girls that possibly were underage, that and then was compromised and blackmailed. That's what I'm trying to say. Marvin Minsky, artificial intelligence pioneer. Do you know what I mean? Look how you could compromise that guy. Kevin Spacey, actor known for his roles in Seven and The House of Cards. Gonna sneeze. Pardon me. House of Cards, found not guilty of sexual assault in 2023. George Lucas, what's going on here? American film director and creator of the Star Wars saga. Do you know, this is weird stuff, like Hollywood, artificial intelligence pioneers, politicians. If you compromise these people, you have a propaganda tool. All you have to do is get pictures or videos of these people sleeping with, they don't even have to be underage girls. They just have to be sleeping with, working girls that are of age. And you now have blackmail. This is what I think this was. This is where it comes in of him being an agent of Mossad. I'm hearing, just on a side note, I'm hearing that, do you know what, I'll talk about that after. It's about Monica Lewinsky being an agent of Mossad alongside Epstein, compromising Bill Clinton for blackmail. That's going to be a separate story that I'll speak about later on. Jean-Luc Brunel, French model agency boss and alleged Epstein co-conspirator who died in an apparent delifing while awaiting trial. Now, if you look at the Sound of Freedom, right, how did they acquire the young people for them to ship them all over the world and for their own dirty gratification? Well, they used model agencies in the Sound of Freedom. And whenever I was looking into Naomi Campbell, look, I'm not saying it's Naomi Campbell. I'm not saying this. This is just a hypothesis. I'm not talking about Naomi Campbell here. But look at the girl in the Sound of Freedom who got the young people. Do you see a little bit of a, listen, I'm not just talking about skin color. Look what her profession was. Look what she done. Look at the time frame that happened. I'm just saying, there's two, when you connect the dots to this shit, it is scary. Kate Blanchett, Australian actor who starred in The Lord of the Rings and Tar. Naomi Campbell, British model. Sharon Churcher, British journalist. Was that journalist over there for what, to interview him? Bruce Willis, actor, famous for his roles in Die Hard and The Sixth Sense. Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico. Now, that would be one to have in your back pocket. If you know, you know. That would be one to have in your back pocket, especially if you're into human shipping. If you look where New Mexico is, it has a lot of if you have somebody in your back pocket that runs that state, you can get people into the country. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Cameron Diaz, actor who starred in Shrek, and There's Something About Mary. Eva Anderson Dubin, former Miss Sweden who once dated Epstein and her husband. What does that mean? Dated Epstein. Glenn Dubin, an American hedge fund manager. If you know about the hedge funds, this is where a lot of money's generated in America, the hedge funds. Noam Chomsky, linguist and political philosopher. Tom Pritzker, American tycoon and philanthropist. Bill Gates is James Michael Ostrich, doesn't say. June and Myra Alessi, husband and wife working at Epstein's home in Florida. Jansis Bananskisk, I don't know if that's how you, Banaskisk, served as I'm getting tongue-tied here. Served as Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach house manager. Victoria Bain, Rebecca Boylan, Dana Burns, Dr. Mona Devasine, treated Virginia Roberts. Right. So there was a doctor on board to treat people on the island. Dr. Chris Donahue treated Virginia Roberts. Ron Eppinger. Look at that. Ron Eppinger. And what do they put underneath him? Sex trafficker. He was affiliated with a known sex trafficker. Daniel Estes, Annie Farmer, accused Epstein of sexual assault. Louis Fritsch, former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. So let me just pull that one up, right? Look at that. Look at that. Louis Fritsch, former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, was affiliated with Epstein? Was it because he was investigating him? Was it because he was interviewing him? Or what? Why was he there? Why was he affiliated with him? That's the FBI. Frederick Fickey, celebrity hairstylist. Weird. Alexandra Fickey, son of celebrity hairstylist. You see, these are the ones we can't go by, right? Because they're not really known names. And they're the ones that need to be looked into. I'm going to take a list of these names and I'm going to look into these people that aren't well known. Jojo Fonteliella, Epstein's butler. He would know everything. I'm going to be looking into that. Cristal Figueroa, sister of Anthony Figueroa, who dated Virginia Roberts in early 2000s. Anthony Figueroa, Virginia Roberts' former boyfriend. Eric Ganey, Meg Garvin, represented Virginia Roberts. Shredden Gibson Butte, Ross Go, Maxwell's press agent. Fred Graff, Robert Goof, Philip, I can't say that name. Philip Gudrun, that's like Swedish or something. Alexandra Hall, Dr. Carol Heck, traded Virginia Roberts. Dr. John Harris, traded Virginia Roberts. Yona Harrison, Shannon Harrison, Victoria Hazel, Brittany Henderson, Brett Jaff, Forrest Jones, Sarah Kellen, Epstein's former assistant, Carol Kess, Dr. Karen Kuchoff, traded Virginia Roberts, Paul Lavery, Dr. Stephen Olson. Dr. Stephen Olson, I know him from somewhere. Stephen Kaufman, Wendy Lay, author. Dr. Judith Lightfoot, traded Virginia Roberts. Peter Listerman, Tom Lyons, Dr. Darcy Magellana, I think that's how you say it name, apologies, traded Virginia Roberts. Nadia Mark and Chankov, I think that's how you say it. Forgive me for that pronunciation. Alleged friend of Epstein's. Bob Minister, Jamie Melanson, Lynn Miller, mother of Virginia Roberts. Donald Morell, David Mullen, David Knorr, Joe Pagano, May Pluga, Stanley Pot Egner, Detective Joe Rackery investigated reports of sexual abuse against children by Epstein. Chief Mitchell Rittner, responsible for investigation of sexual abuse against children by Epstein. Ronaldo and Deborah Rizzo, Sky Roberts, Kimberly Roberts, Lynn Roberts, Virginia Roberts, now known as I can never pronounce her second name, so I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. Accused Prince Andrew of sexual assault. Haley Robinson, named as a teen recruiter for Epstein in police documents. You know, she's a victim too, isn't she? Isn't she Haley Roberts? She was a victim, I believe, of Epstein, and then she was taught how to do this. I could be wrong about that. Dave Roberts, private jet pilot for Epstein. Alfredo, like let's just talk about Dave Roberts here, right? He's making money, right? He's seeing what's going on in that private jet. Alfredo Rodriguez, butler at Epstein's Florida home. Scott Rothenson, Forrest Sawyer, Doe Chalette, investigator. Joanna Schubert claims she was sexually abused while underage by Epstein. Also claimed Prince Andrew touched her breast. Celia Steen, Maureen Strong, Mark Tafoya, Emmy Taylor, Maxwell's ex-personal assistant, Brent Tandle, Kevin Thompson, Ed Tuttle, Lex Wexner, founder of L Brands and former business partner of Epstein. Crescenda Valdes, Emma Vaughn, Anthony Valadres, Christina Venro, licensed massage therapist. Well, at least he had a license, one there he just didn't use the kids all the time. Marteza Varquez, Dr. Wawa, what a name, treated Virginia Roberts, Dr. Wawa. Vicky Ward, investigative journalist and author. Jard Westfield, Sharon White, Courtney Wild, Danzel Wilson, Mark Zeff, New York. I can't say that word. Oh, New York decorator, right? So, wow. So, a lot of these people, not all of them, would have been. They're not into shady stuff. So there's a few of them now that probably didn't do anything, but there's a few standout names and there's more information. So that's what the Independent. I always try to go to the most left-leaning news organization to see what they have to say first, because when they have to say something like that, then you go over to the whack jobs like me in on X to see what's saying, to see what's going on. So I'm just going to take a look through the chat here. And then first off, what I'll do is I'll just log into my X account. We're going to go on to X now. This is the second segment of the show. Oh. Let's see what's trending. We're going to see what's trending here, folks. Go to home. Oh, here we go. So Cat Williams is trending. I want to speak a bit about Cat Williams because Cat Williams is releasing a lot of information at the minute. A lot of information. So we'll just go to Epstein first. So Kevin Everson asks Alan Dershowitz, was Epstein Mossad? Let's have a wee look at this. We're going to react to this. Was he Mossad?
Many of us suspect that Jeffrey Epstein was an asset to Mossad, and that Ghislaine Maxwell was in fact an agent of Mossad. There's a lot of evidence that point to this direction, and that they were operating a blackmail operation in order to get very powerful people, including people like yourself, in precarious positions to where you could potentially work on behalf of the state of Israel or protect the state of Israel.
I've been working on the state of Israel. I've been working for the state of Israel since before you were born. Jeffrey Epstein.
So do you see how he's being really condescending there? He's trying to say, look, I've been working in the state of Israel before you were born. You know nothing, little girl. You know nothing, right? But the fact is, why did Jeffrey Epstein compromise so many people? What was his benefit from that? He's only one man. He was a billionaire anyway. He made his money. He made his money, and then he himself was compromised by an intelligence agency. I'm not saying it's just Mossad. It could be many. There's many other intelligence agencies. It's because Jeffrey Epstein is a Jewish man. He was a supporter of Israel, and was he then compromised by themselves, by Israel, the intelligence agency that is Israel, Mossad, to then compromise so many other people, knowing that he had the resources, and he essentially was a mini paramilitary, a mini intellectual, a mini sort of like he infiltrated. He could do things that the intelligence agencies couldn't, because he had the resources, the funds, and they says, look, we'll let you away with the rest of this if you just do this little thing for us. I'm just a hypothesis. Why did he compromise so many people? It wasn't for himself. Some of it was for himself, but I don't like how condescending this guy is.
once visited me in Israel. He had never been there. He didn't know anybody in Israel.
You don't need to know anybody in Israel. Anybody that is Jewish is an Israeli citizen. They have loyalty to Israel, and that is just a fucking fact.
He didn't work for the Mossad. The Mossad wouldn't hire him. And I hope he had videotapes of everybody, because they would show I never did anything improper. I have one other question. Are you used to having people come on your show to talk about one subject and then sandbagging them?
So this is what these elitists do, like Dershowitz. What they do is he's going to attack the news anchor for asking relevant questions. Was he just a question, Dershowitz? Did he work for Mossad? He didn't like that. He didn't like that. This guy's not used to that. These are yes men, or sorry, they're surrounded by yes men, always told that they're right. They don't like being put on the spot.
I'm on another subject without any warning, because it's nice to know you do that, and it will make.
Well, no, that's called an unfiltered interview, something that you're not used to.
Certain that I have nothing to hide. I'm happy to talk about any of this, but
really, you've got nothing to hide. Check out my ex, people, at Holden Official 2. Check it out and see if this geezer's got nothing to hide.
I'm used to more ethical journalism.
No, we actually did notify the people who booked you onto the show that you would be asked about Epstein, and they assured us that you were aware
No,
of
they
this.
never notified me about that, and you'd have to show me that email.
Looks like you've got a rat in the ranks. Looks like you've got a rat in the ranks. Thank God for that rat.
Okay. One last question. Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
No, of course not. Well, he didn't kill himself without the help of some people. He did kill himself, but he killed himself with the help of guards. He didn't do it by himself. He couldn't have done that. Obviously, though, the videos were turned off, and the guards turned their back, and his
the videos were turned off, and they fell asleep.
Cellmate left. So I think he killed himself, but he killed himself with the assistance of some people in law enforcement.
Shut the fuck up. Right, let's go down. Here we go. The FBI is trending. I want to just stick with you've got Dr. Jean Halpler Hayes, who protected many on Epstein's list. Most powerful publicist Leslie Dart. We've got the beautiful Tom Wanks in the building. Tom Wanks is in the building. And the absolutely stunning, what do you call this guy again? Forget his name. Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. Look at that, is a specimen of a man. He was around so many beautiful looking actors that got parts, and he done it all platonically. This guy, you know, look at that. That is a beautiful looking man right there. We'll take another wee scroll down. I'm not going to read that out. I'm definitely not going to read that out. So let's the FBI is trending. I wonder what they're trending for. They didn't raid Donald Trump again, did they? Right. So let's get into the nitty gritty now. We're going to get into the nitty gritty because I want there's an account that's released all the information. If I can find him here, forget his name. So that's Cat Williams. Maybe we should jump on the Cat Williams first. Joe Rogan said, I love Cat. He's one of my favorite comics, and I'd love to have him on. We talk about him all the time. If he's down, I'll make it happen. Cat Williams addresses never being on Joe Rogan's podcast. Shut the fuck up, Joe. Cat Williams is releasing so much information on everything. Oh, look, there we'll have it. Mossad is trending too. Let's see what they're talking about with Mossad. Oh, let me just follow them. Mossad commentary. I'm going to be following all that. Here we go. Here's my boy. So let's take a look at Dom's Twitter account here, because before we jump on to the other one, I want to talk about some of the stuff that this guy releases. This guy's information is second to none. The Epstein files. Does Bill Spinton deserve life in prison? So this is something I wanted to speak about too. So breaking news: Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were spotted in San Miguel, Guatemala, or somewhere in Mexico, on the day of Jeffrey Epstein's court documents released that revealed Bill liking them. It's worth noting that the Clintons met and were photographed with former What does it say? It's worth noting that the Clintons met and were photographed with former Mexican President Neto in Punacena, Dominican Republic, on December 30th, 2023. The Clintons haven't returned to America since they left on December 29th, 2023. So they got a heads up something was going down, right? So this is my opinion on Bill. So he's left America and he hasn't been back to America. And for me personally, that is an indication that he got a bit of a tip off that this was going to happen. Just my opinion. I'm not saying that's true. There could be for other reasons. And then remembered in October 2023, a man was kicked out of Hillary Clinton's event after he asked her about Bill Clinton's trips to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I'll play that video for you.
Want somebody who's going to get up every day.
Hey, Hillary, why'd your husband visit Epstein Island 26 times?
He has got a point. Why did he go to Epstein's Island 26 times? Great question. It takes somebody to go in there and cause a ruckus. Right. So let me go to my page profile. Oh, we're live right now. So here's a story I want to speak about. Okay. So I titled this, "It Just Gets Worse by the Minute." Now, this, I'm going to go over to this guy's page here because, I mean, it's information second to none. So when she was a teenager, Rusela Korshunova, a top Kazakh Russian model, visited Jeffrey Epstein's notorious Little St. James Island. Just 2 years later, she tragically de-lifed herself in 2008. New court documents unveiled her journey on Epstein's Leota Express to the island, sparking concerns about possible exploitation. Sources: Daily Mail. So let me just read this. I'll get this up on the screen. Let me read this for you. Reports of young girls to work as models. He would bring young girls ranging to ages as young as 12 to the United States for sexual purposes and farm them out to his friends, especially Epstein. Brunel would offer the girls modeling jobs. Many of the girls came from poor countries or impoverished backgrounds, and he lured them in with a promise of making good money. Epstein forced Jane Doe #3 to observe him. Burnell and Maxwell engage in illegal sexual acts with dozens of underage girls. Epstein also forced Jane Doe #3 to have sex with Burnell on numerous occasions at places including Epstein's mansion in West Palm Beach, Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Many include orgies that were comprised of other underage girls, New York City, New Mexico, Paris, the south of France, and California. So these are coming from the Epstein files. Once again, I don't know how true this is, but this is coming from the Epstein files. If you want to take a screenshot of that, or head over to X. Now I've shared this on my X. If you want to head over and download this, I think there's like 900 PDF files that you can download that have all relevant information if you want to go through that. So let's just go back here because there's lots of information on this guy's channel. But, when it comes to stories like this model, there's lots of models. So I'm led to believe that Epstein took there's Prince Andrew. He's trending right now as we speak. You want to hit, but I want to go into the trending, but because new information is being released by the minute. So here we go. New information released, and Mario is actually on a live at the minute. I might, after this here, I'll go over and I'll join. Epstein files 100K donations to ballet for massages. Epstein gave 100,000 to the Ballet of Florida expressly for funding massages for the dancers. Epstein's lawyer emphasized his client's belief in the therapeutic and spirituality sound nature of massage. What are you talking about? What are we doing here? Right? So let's read this here. On November 29th, 2005, at approximately 2:30 p.m., I received a telephone call on the department-issued cell phone. Mr. Fronstein stated he was calling to relay information that Mr. Epstein wished he could relay. Mr. Fronstein stated that he would not allow Mr. Epstein to speak with me at this time. He further stated that Mr. Epstein is very passionate about massages. He continued that Mr. Epstein had allegedly donated over 100,000 to the Ballet of Florida for massages. These massages are therapeutic and spiritually sound for him. That is why he has had many massages. Mr. Fronstein stated he appreciated the way the investigation has not been leaked out into the media. I explained to Mr. Fronstein that it is as important to protect the innocent if the allegations are not substantiated. Mr. Fronstein was told of the allegations that the private investigators assigned to the case have been portraying themselves as police officers. So, there's things like this that look like they don't look innocent, but they are deep. This is what he done. Let me just share this again. Let me just see. Mario has posted Maxwell Epstein's lifestyle exposed in photos. Trial photos reveal the scandalous world of Maxwell and Epstein. Extravagant escapades with private jets, yachts, and exclusive access to the Queen's Balmoral Castle that was facilitated by Prince Andrew. We'll just cover a few more stories in this, and then I want to look. It's all trending. If you can see on the right hand side, it's all trending here. Right, so we're going to head over. I wanted to do Cat. Did I do Cat Williams? Oh, I did, didn't I? So let's click on Stephen Hawking's. It's trending at the minute. So you have like a ton of memes that's. I mean, Stephen Hawking's on Epstein's island. Brutal. Go on for a little swim in Epstein's island. Mossad. I think I've done Mossad already. I want where Prince Andrew was trending there a minute ago. Let me see. Right. So let me just take this away. 2 minutes. Right. So what I actually think, I have to give a disclaimer here. What I'm about to say is not true. It's for entertainment purposes only. I think that what's happened over the past 2 days is why Epstein isn't here anymore. And I think this is just 1% of the information. So we're hearing a lot of names, and those names had to be released, but I don't think we're going to find out the big nitty-gritty details on what actually went on here. We can assume there's a lot of evidence pointing when it comes to Prince Andrew. There's a lot of evidence when it comes to how he compromised people, Epstein I'm talking about. And I think we are in the high 90s that Epstein was working for an intelligence agency. That is my opinion. But if gun to my head, if somebody says to me, you have to pick, was he working for an intelligence agency, siphoning information back, compromising people with, and blackmailing people with tapes, sex tapes, with underage girls and girls of age and possibly boys too? I would say yes. That would be my answer. I would be comfortable and confident enough to say that. Let me just have a look at the chat here. I'll just go up here a little bit. Right, so we've got Peter Sky. Hope you're well, fella. T1. Hope you're well. So not all of them were clients. A lot of, as you've seen, there was a lot of journalists going over. Some of them could have been clients. Some of them could have just been investigating him, and he's allowed for the interview. Now, there is something I want to react to today. I'm going to react. I just need to download it here. Just give me a second. It's Epstein. It's actually very it's very telling. It's his interrogation interview. So let me just go to my recents and I'll download this here. Let me just download this. Right. So that's downloading. Do you think Trump visited the island? I believe with the, I'm going to later on in a while after I do this reaction video, I'll share something to the screen. Donald Trump apparently has been cleared because in the in the documents that were released with the information on Jeffrey Epstein, there was a document released on Donald Trump, and the questions were asked: did Donald Trump ever go to the island? Did he ever have sex parties with Jeffrey Epstein? And it was said no. Now, with the rest of them, there's questionable behavior. There was questions of Prince Andrew and other people, and those questions were answered with yes. But Donald Trump, apparently no. Apparently he was never at the island, and he wasn't at any sex parties. The only allegation against Donald Trump was a girl in 2016 who said that Donald Trump done terrible things to her whenever she was 13 years of age, and that was facilitated by Epstein. And that has been rehashed lately over the past couple of days since the Epstein stuff has surfaced. So let me just do this here. So this is the man himself. I'll go through a couple of comments. I'm going to share this to the screen now. A video file.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now?
We'll do that in a wee minute. Spacey is a filthy animal. Well, look, he was found not guilty. So that's what we can say about that. But if you look at that situation for what it is, and this is just my hypothesis, this is me just having a theory, I'm not saying this is fact. Look at the amount of people that aren't alive anymore in that situation that we're going to give evidence against him. I'm not saying he's guilty, though. I understand people can come out. But if you look at the situation for what it is, it doesn't look good. Bill Clinton painting when he's in a dress. Yeah, Bill Clinton painting when he's in a dress. And George Bush sitting on the ground like a kid playing with toys with Jenga towers that have fell to the ground, looking like the Twin Towers, while Bill Clinton's, George Bush is throwing paper planes. I think the waters are getting muddied on purpose to conceal the true list, and there are names getting thrown in left, right, and center now. Well, yeah, because you have to understand this is the verified list. There's people that would have known. I need what Epstein's selling here, but I don't want to be put down in any list. I don't want any flight logs or lists I'm going here. There's probably a list of people that we'll never know about. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Yes, and what we're dealing with here, what has been exposed is corruption at the highest level. Now, the question is that how's the police going to take this in all countries, the American authorities, the British authorities? Because if you're looking at the Prince Andrew one stands out to me. There is questions asked on the released documents on Prince Andrew, where you could see it goes question and then answer, and when it comes to Prince Andrew, they're all answered yes, 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 yes. He done this, he done that, he done this, he done that. Prince Andrew stands out more than anything. So will the Metropolitan Police take action against him, or will, I'm just going to say it, will the Brotherhood kick in and they're not going to go near him? You have to understand why they might not arrest Prince Andrew is because it comes under national security, and anything that threatens the crown, even if it's an illegal act done by a royal, that can be suppressed under law. I think it's the same in America when it comes to Congress or the presidency. If the president is going to be compromised, and that information could be used by terrorists or other countries that are, or even domestic terrorists, they will not release that information or suppress that information to protect the country under the illusion that this is protecting the country. But really why they're doing it is because it's protecting the president. Let me just get my coffee. Yeah, I would say yeah, 100%. Shona, I hope you're keeping well. It's the elites. It's obvious he's been shut up for good. Yeah, 100%. Deadly Kitten, I hope you're well. Good morning, all. Can't believe I've caught this live. Yep. I thought I would do a bit of an earlier one. I've done a live instead of a pre-recorded. Those names in book could be for anything, though. 100%, you're right. I agree. And some of them are for like platonic reasons and for non-deviant reasons. I couldn't believe all of these people were up to no good. Yeah, it's the ones, you see, how to differentiate between the good ones and the bad ones. So all of them could be bad and most of them could be good, right? So that's what you need to know. But what you need to look out for is when Epstein was convicted of a sexual offense, the people that went after that and the actors, for instance, why was Michael Jackson going there? Why did Michael Jackson have a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? He plays the wah-wah guitar. Yeah, that's we're about. I'm gonna just skip forward here. So listen, I don't want to miss anybody's comments, so I apologize if I missed your comment. I'm going to skip down here. Yeah. Well, look, take away the fact that she's the queen. Just see her as a mom, right? She's dead now. So she's trying to protect her son. But I'm trying to put it to myself. If my son was like Prince Andrew, would I protect him? I might have a quiet word with him. I might absolutely beat the shit out of him, but for doing what he done. But I don't know. You know, you're talking about crimes here that are unforgivable. But then if I'll just need to make it a bit more local. Look at the whole, I don't want to bring these two together, but look at the whole Decahigi situation, how he's facilitated by certain people in his family. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Some people are just different. Maybe he was compromised, Jackson, by Epstein. Yeah, 100%. And maybe that's, you see, Epstein had power in media. He had power politically. He had power in the arts. He had power. He had a Harvard office even after he was convicted of a sexual offense. So he had power in education. So this guy could ruin you from multiple different angles if he could blackmail you. Do you know what I mean? So this isn't a normal situation. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to share this to the screen now.
Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is Jeffrey Epstein being interrogated by cops. And the reason why I downloaded this is because I do think that this is going to be took off YouTube.
$6,100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Do you maintain any other residences presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts, one soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Boom. That's it. And that's what he was caught. That's what he was caught doing. He's a billionaire. He had his own island. What was he not caught doing? We know that now. And then all the people surrounded in this.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited?
So the Fifth Amendment is you don't have to speak. You can just go, I don't want to answer this, and then they just let you away. That's crazy, man. Do we have anything like that here in the West? Or sorry, in Britain and Ireland, where you just like, I want to evoke my Fifth Amendment. We don't have those rights, do we?
Did a minor for prostitution?
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment.
Yes,
right?
Yes, Mr. Scroll.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Again, I'm going to assert my right.
Did you ever? We're going to go off the record. So you.
I mean, like, Think about it, right? You're already convicted. They already know that you have been soliciting minors for your own sexual gratification, right? The fact that you're not answering the question, obviously it's helping him because he doesn't want to go to prison. But that's a telltale sign for us, because this is the court of public opinion. Now, if that was me and this was an interview with me, how would you react to that? Because there is still people on Twitter, you know, that think that Jeffrey Epstein is innocent. And I've seen it. I couldn't believe it. And I've seen people saying about Jimmy Savile being innocent also. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, for anybody that has any doubts about this guy and about what he was involved in, at the very, very minute least, he was another Jimmy Savile. Now, more than likely, he was a procurer, and he was the tuck shop and the seller of certain products that were highly illegal and deemed deplorable for the rich and famous to come in to have their kicks sexually, their dirty sexual kicks, their sexual gratification needs met. So what I'm trying to say is that what's been released over the past 2 days is only the surface of what we know. Every single one of them. There's two people that you need to look out for. Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton are scrambling at the minute to make sure there's no more information released. And I think more information will be released. I think now we're going to get into the realms of, now the cat's out of the bag, people are going to come forward. People are going to start coming forward. Now, after this here, I want to share something to the screen about Monica Lewinsky, because it's fascinating about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Was she an agent of Mossad also? Was she sent in by a Jeffrey Epstein type character to blackmail, to get blackmail leverage over Bill Clinton? Frosty, it's okay, mate. Listen, the reason why I'm doing this, I have to say this too, the reason why I'm here talking about this, they've striked me multiple times. It's okay. It's fine. People don't get notifications. Just share the stuff. Just share it to somebody who, you know, is into the Epstein stuff, who wants to know the other people's opinions on it. I'm not saying everything I say is the truth. What I'm trying to say, you know, I've been shadow banned, demonetized, all the things. It doesn't matter. That's a good thing to me. I'm not here to rip you off. I don't want your money. All I want is for people to wake up a little bit and understand that this is how the world is ran. There is multiple Jeffrey Epsteins. Multiple Jeffrey Epsteins. This is just one of very many. Don't worry about the YouTube not notifying you. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. That's fine. That's, you know, that's an accomplishment to me, because if YouTube was promoting me, then that means I'm a part of the system. And I never want to be a part of the system. I've always went against the grain and always will go against the grain. And if I'm wrong about something, I will hold my hands up and say, look, I apologize, I'm wrong. But I'm not going to bend down for a couple of monetization pounds to sit here and, you know, sell my soul to the devil for money. It's just not who I am. So let's play this on here.
You are terminating the deposition at this time.
You're recessing the deposition. What college did you attend? Cooper Union. And did you get a degree from Cooper Union? No, sir. How many years were you in college? I believe 2. What'd you study? Physics. Well, isn't it true that you were a teacher?
Motherfucker studied physics. Wow. There you go. Me and Jeffrey Epstein have got something in common. We like physics.
At the Dalton School in New York after college. It's just unheard of. It's just an unbelievable scheme to have kept going for that long of a period of time. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual? No. Okay.
Like, he looked horrified when that question was asked to him. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual? And he looked at him as if to say, like, why are you even asking me that? Man, you're accused you're convicted of soliciting minors for your own sexual gratification. Being bisexual here is the least of your worries.
In any event, you did develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true? No. Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection, harassing, argumentative.
How is that an objection? So they need to have a counter solicitor there for the police to say, look, how is that an objection? You have been convicted of soliciting minors for your own sexual gratification. So on the scientific terms, Mr. Epstein, who's got a fucking PhD in physics or whatever he has, a diploma in physics, who's a scientist, I can say that scientifically you've got an attraction to children. So how long have you had this attraction to children? How is that harassment and bullying? Why is there even an objection there?
Are you kidding?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging any secrets here, right?
Exactly.
Move to strike.
Mr. Epstein.
See, you need to understand this. He might not actually believe that he's attracted to children. A lot of these people do not actually think they're attracted to children. They think that it's their God-given right to take what they want. And if that is, the law says it's 17. Well, she was only 14, and I think that 14's fine. And this was on my island, and it was okay. This is the moral standpoint and the moral compass these people have. They don't care.
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
Again?
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
I'd like to respond to all your, if any, questions seem to be relevant, but I would like to respond to any relevant question at this time. However, my attorneys have counseled me that I cannot provide answers to the questions relevant to this lawsuit today. I must accept their advice or risk losing my Sixth Amendment right to effective representation. Accordingly, then, I assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment right to the United States Constitution.
Like, what an answer. It's either yes or no. No, I wasn't. What he's trying to do there, see, what the interviewer is trying to do is he's trying to build a profile on Epstein. He's trying to say, well, hold on, right? We know that you're convicted of this. We know, this is when he was just about to be convicted. We know that this is what you're capable of. We have the relevant information. So because you committed the crime, is there a reason why you committed that crime? We're actually trying to lessen the blow for you here, because you could use this in court. Well, I'm the victim of that type of abuse myself, so I went on to perpetrate that sort of act. Do you know what I mean? Where, this guy's closed up here. What you're actually witnessing here just seems like a normal guy. This is the definition of a narcissistic sociopath. Maybe not narcissistic, because I wouldn't, the definition of a narcissist is somebody who wants unearned attention, but he's definitely a sociopath. He does not have the same feelings as other people. He just doesn't.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis?
Bro. Is it true, sir, you've got, an egg-shaped penis? What? But I suppose he's building the profile to understand, because if he answers that question, yes, then that co-aligns with victims' testimonies, alleged victims' testimonies. See, they're trying to get him done for historical abuse, that a collection of people coming together that are sort of building a profile. And if a collection of people that don't know each other tell the same story about a certain individual, you can get somebody done for historical abuse. And I think that's what's happening here.
I had hired psychologists to do a psychological profile on Jeffrey Epstein, what type of person he was, and what would actually get under his skin. What made him tick was that he was a narcissist. He had no ability to feel empathy.
See, I would actually disagree with that because, you know, the definition of a narcissist is somebody who seeks unearned attention. Jeffrey Epstein didn't want any attention, but he definitely was a sociopath, somebody who didn't have the same feelings. He had lack of empathy. He had lack of sympathy. He maybe a bit narcissistic in the regards that he only thought about his own sexual gratification. That could be deemed, that's a narcissistic trait, but all in all, he wasn't a full, that's not the correct word to use. He's more of a sociopath and possibly a psychopath.
And saw himself as the master of puppets, so to speak.
Sir, one witness described your penis as oval-shaped and claimed when erect it was thick towards the bottom but was thin and small towards the head portion, and called it egg-shaped. Those are not my words, I apologize. But as Mr. Critton has stated, that this is a... I'm willing to continue.
He really didn't like that. That guy insulted him there, and he didn't like that, so he doesn't like to be insulted. Like, if I was being interviewed by the cops, and the cop says to me, Ronan, we heard that your penis looks like an egg. Does it? News to me. I'd probably laugh. Do you know what I mean? But he's taken that thick, but, you know, which is a narcissistic trait. He doesn't like anybody. He doesn't have self-humor. He can't take the piss out of himself, basically.
I hate to call him back.
Let me go on the record. He tries at all times to be the master of his domain and in control of his world. As soon as he feels he's out of control, it's unsettling to him.
Complaint filed.
Well, let's call a spade here, right? If I'm being interviewed by the cops and I'm not in control, I'm going to feel uncomfortable, especially if I've committed a crime. So that doesn't make you a narcissist. That just makes you uneasy around cops. But what they're doing here is they're using humiliation tactics. They're using profiling tactics. They're using good tactics here to sort of penetrate his psyche, and it's working to a certain degree. Egg penis. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Egg penis.
By Virginia Roberts against you. Isn't it true, sir, that a friend of yours sent you 3 12-year-old females for you to sexually abuse on one of your birthdays?
Form argumentative, harassing, and irrelevant to this lawsuit.
But you're saying that's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
How is that harassment? That's a question. Do you know, Americans, there has to be something in place, right? Listen, I don't understand cops do bad things and you have to, the people need the power. But how is that harassment asking a question? If I ask a question, or like if I title something, is Jeffrey Epstein a Speedo? And I put a question mark in that. I'm not asking a question. I'm not harassing. It's different if I phrase that, you are this. Now that is harassment. Do you know what I mean?
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike.
This is high. If that's true, that's high level human shipping. Because normally when it comes to human shipping, they are shipped from one country to the other, or from one place to another, you know, and for them to be shipped from one country to another to be shipped back again the next day, that's high level shipping. What you're dealing with there is the higher echelons of human shipping, which possibly he was involved in. And if he was involved in that, then that means he was involved with the model agencies like in The Sound of Freedom that exploited vulnerable areas with vulnerable children to take them, knowing that the police force wasn't really going to investigate it. He says that the kids didn't speak English, that they were procured in France. Possibly they weren't even French. They could have been from the Middle East, a war-torn country, and put into France. France has got a high level of human shipping.
Relevant, argumentative, harassing.
I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
And he just said there, I would like to answer that question, right? Because those young girls mightn't have been shipped over for Epstein. You have to understand he could possibly, I'm not saying he is, could have been the tuck shop for these elitists to go to for him to procure certain products, right? We'll call it that. So he might have got them for another person. He wants to answer that question. Well, that wasn't for me. That was for A, B, and C. Do you know what I mean? That's what that's why he wants to answer the question, but he doesn't. He can't because it's going to incriminate himself.
You're invoking your Fifth Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you, and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Objection argumentative, harassing, and calls for a legal conclusion.
No, in fact, the Supreme Court recently said that the Fifth Amendment right is there to protect the innocent. So that's the way I'd like to answer that.
Are you released from jail at some time? Do you have to report back to jail on a daily basis?
Yes, I report back to jail at 8 p.m.
Every single day?
That's right. He was like in an open prison, wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
And is it 7 days a week that you're out on work release?
No, sir.
How many days a week are you out on work release?
6.
And of those 6 days, how many hours per day are you out on work release?
12.
We're back on the video record at 12:02 p.m.
Let's talk about Jane Doe 102, Virginia Roberts. Do you know Virginia Roberts?
Let me just answer a couple of questions here. So, bigger cover up than JFK, 100%. He was the middleman, probably a bit higher than the middleman. The middlemen could have been street level. This was billionaire level. I wonder where he really is. Yeah, well, that's another story. I might do that tomorrow because there's information of Jeffrey Epstein lookalikes on the island, which is crazy. I believe Epstein was a step down from the top in the network. Just one notch, well, not one notch down. He could have been just above the middle, because you have to understand at the top of the pyramid, they don't work in currency, they work in power. They are the ones, they are the Federal Reserve. They lend money they don't have. They get interest back on money that doesn't exist. These people are the ones who create money. These are the people that run the world. Very Masonic, Illuminati, things like that. When people say the Illuminati and Freemasonry, I'm actually getting a guy on, an ex-Freemason on, who's going to expose a hell of a lot in America, what went on, especially when it comes to money. So, yeah, there's levels to everything. He probably was just above the middle of the pyramid, which is quite high, which is very, very high. Above him is the spider web of shit. Yeah, Frosty, I'll actually do that tomorrow. I'll not lump that in today because there's other things I want to speak about today. But yeah, it's crazy. If you see the drone footage, it's crazy. It's a Jeffrey Epstein lookalike on the island.
So she's, again, who?
Virginia Roberts.
Can you spell it?
Common spelling. Virginia, like the state.
Can you spell it for me, please?
Roberts.
What's the last name? How's it spelled?
Roberts, I believe.
Isn't it true that you and Ghislaine Maxwell celebrated her 16th birthday with her and had sex with her on that day?
Form, compound, confusing, argumentative, and harassing.
I'd like to answer that question. But today, I'm going to have to assert my Sixth Amendment rights, my Fifth Amendment rights.
Is it true that you forced Virginia Roberts to have sex with numerous friends of yours?
Are you kidding?
So there you have it, guys. That is my reaction to Jeffrey Epstein's interrogation. It's quite telling because he wanted to answer a few questions. In my opinion, he wanted to give up information that it wasn't him doing all the work with the girls, and actually it was for other people, procuring these young girls for other people. And I want to end it in this note, right? I don't think there's much more to talk about today. There's not much more. I'll probably release a lot more stuff on the X today as it breaks, and on TikTok, and here I'll post a few of the videos here. But I really want to end it on this note, that the similarities between this situation and what Epstein's been accused of here, and the documents and what he's been convicted of and what people think, the similarities between that and the movie The Sound of Freedom. Because you have Epstein linked in with model agencies, art sort of places, arty people, very deep-rooted libertarian sects of people that I think he used to procure young girls for his own sexual gratification, and to infiltrate impoverished areas and poor areas, like to target vulnerable kids as young as 12, to then sell them on to people that were a lot bigger, like the rich and famous. And I think he wanted the answer to that question. I think he wanted the answer to that. You know, what is your opinion on it? What is your opinion on all this? You know, I'll just read the chat here a little bit more, and then I'll end this here. Because, do you know what? There's a few things I wanted to speak about, but I'm going to leave that till tomorrow, because I don't want to speak about everything in one. I've read the whole list of people's names that have been released. I've done the reaction video today. I've done a few things today, so I'll just leave it at that. It's coming up to an hour and a half. What time? Well, if you what you can do, I think the best way to get notified for content, because it's not always to do with censorship, is just to like the video. Make sure you like the video, and then YouTube picks that up. Oh, you like this video, so you might like his other videos, and then you'll get notified. So just keep liking the videos. Yeah, we're going to get into that tomorrow. Was Jeffrey Epstein actually dead? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Right. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to end it there. So if you're watching on Twitter, head over to my YouTube at HoldenOfficial1. This is streamed live on Twitter, Rumble, and YouTube right now at the same time. I apologize for the people that are watching on Rumble. I can't see your comments. I can't share them to the screen. So make sure you head over to my YouTube at HoldenOfficial1, all lowercase, and you can get involved in the live chat. If you're watching this on X, the same thing. Jump over to my YouTube at HoldenOfficial1, all lowercase, and you can get involved in the live chat. And if if anybody watching on YouTube, jump over to my X, formerly known as Twitter, because that's where I release all my uncensored information on the Jeffrey Epstein case, where I can speak 100% freely. And I can do that also in Rumble, except it's a bit more accessible on X. So yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate everybody that tuned in today. You're all awake to the bullshit. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to come. And yeah, peace out.